So let's recite together. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the sublime, the victorious, and the totally self-enlightened one. Okay, welcome everyone. So today is the last session, and we are going to close this Mahasatipatthana Sutta study. So let's do a little recap before we go to the last section of the sutta, which is the assurance of attainment that the Buddha gave at the end of this sutta. Okay, so everyone ready? Yes? Okay, so let's do a little recap. So in this sutta, the Buddha taught the four foundations of mindfulness in 21 different ways. So there are like different ways how we can meditate on the body, on feeling, and on the mind, and on Dhamma. So we have seen 14 types of Caraṇapālī, the contemplation of the body. And then, although we have seen 9 different feelings, but feelings is considered one. And then also we have seen different types of mind, but also Citta-nupassana is considered one practice. And then we have seen 5 different types of 5 categories in the Dhamma-nupassana, contemplation of the Dhamma. So altogether, 21 ways we have discussed throughout this course. Now, just to refresh our memory, in the contemplation of the body, we saw the mindfulness of breathing, the anapana, then we saw the 4 postures, iddhyapada, and then we saw the clear comprehension, sampajana, and then we also saw the repulsiveness of the body, paticula manasikara, and then the elements, dhatu manasikara, and then the 9 charnel grounds contemplation, navasivatika. So we may not remember the details of each part of how to practice or what details we have talked about, but thanks to technology, we can always go back to the video for the specific parts when we want to refresh our memory. So all the videos will be on the YouTube channel. So when you are practicing, or sometimes when you want to refresh your memory of a specific method of meditation introduced here, then we can always go back to the video. So that was the 14 different topics that we talked about during the contemplation of the body. And then for the contemplation of feeling, it is described as only one Vedana-nupassana, although there are 9 types of feelings mentioned in the sutta. But because Vedana, as a Cetasika, it is only one with the quality of experiencing the object, right? So therefore, Vedana-nupassana is considered only one here. Now, among the 9 types of feelings that are mentioned, we have seen pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling, and then whether they are worldly or non-worldly, samisa or niramisa. So samisa, meaning that those mental feelings, whether pleasant, unpleasant, or neither pleasant nor unpleasant, that are related to sensual pleasure. And those niramisa are the ones that are not related to sensual pleasure. So whatever in the present moment is arising, the meditator are to be aware of them and contemplate feeling as feeling and not as my feelings. Just like in the other section, contemplate the body as the body, rupa as rupa, and not as I or me or mine. Then we have seen in the contemplation of consciousness, Citta-nupassana, here it is also considered one because as the cognition of the object, it is only one. But in the sutta, 16 categories are introduced. So just to refresh our memory, we have seen saraga citta, those consciousness with lust or with craving, vitaraga citta, those without lust, without craving, sadosa citta, those with hatred, vittadosa citta, those without hatred, samoha citta, those with delusion, vittamoha citta, those without delusion, And then we have Sankita Chitta, which is called, in English, translated as constricted. Those are consciousness associated with sloth and torpor. And then we have Vikita Chitta, scattered. Those are the consciousness that are associated with restlessness. And then we have also seen Mahagata Chitta, those chitta that has become great, meaning the jhana consciousness, right? It means that these types of consciousness, in comparison with those consciousness that are pertaining to the sense sphere, whether wholesome or unwholesome, they has become greater because through the practice of samatha meditation, they have become more concentrated and more refined. Therefore, they're called became great. No, those that has become great, and then those that has not become great, amhagata chitta. And then we have also seen Sauttara Chitta, surpassable. Surpassable are the sense sphere consciousness, wholesome or unwholesome, that arise in our daily life. And those unsurpassable are those that are more refined consciousness due to the practice of samatha meditation. So those chittas that has temporarily suppressed the five hindrances and also are with higher concentration. So those are the rupa vachara or the arupa vachara chittas pertaining to the fine material sphere or non-material sphere. And then we also have seen the samahita chitta, concentrated. Now, concentrated chittas are those with upachara samadhi, excess concentration, or kanika samadhi, moment-to-moment concentration, or appana samadhi, absorption concentration. Those are called concentrated consciousness. And then asamahita chitta are those that are not associated with those kind of consciousness that we just mentioned. And then we have vimutta chitta, freed consciousness, are those that are free from defilements temporarily or momentarily. Because now we are talking about vipassana, right? So we are not talking about the enlightened chittas here, because this has to be the objects for vipassana meditation. So here, freed does not mean totally free. It just means temporarily free. So those are the vipassana consciousness while practicing, or the jhana consciousness. And then we have the avimutta citta, those that are not freed. That means those that are not free from defilements. So when we are aware of what is happening in the mind, whether there are these different kinds of consciousness arising at the moment, and we are said to be contemplating on cittanupassana. So those are the different categories that we have seen while we studied the contemplation of the mind, of consciousness. And then the last contemplation is the contemplation of the Dhamma that we just went through. So I think memory is still a little bit fresh. We have seen the five nivaranas, the five mental hindrances. And then we have also studied the five aggregates of clinging, which are mind and metta, divided into the five categories, the five groups. And then we have also seen the six internal and external bases, the seven factors of enlightenment, and we just finished last week the Four Noble Truths. So these are the five categories that we have seen in the contemplation of the Dhamma. Now, among these 21 different ways or different practice that are introduced in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, the Anapana mindfulness of breathing, Anapana practice, and the particular manasikara, which is repulsiveness of the body, these two are mentioned to be the practice for attainment of jhana before switching to vipassana. So for those who wants to practice first samatha and then later vipassana, according to this sutta, then they can first practice either anapana or the repulsiveness of the body. So in this sutta specifically, these two practices are introduced for samatha yanika, those that use samatha meditation or one-pointedness meditation as a vehicle for enlightenment, right? As a vehicle, then first jhana and then switch to vipassana. And all the other 19 types of other practice are aimed for vipassana yanika, so for directly practicing vipassana. So up to here that we have just gone through the 21 types of meditation that is introduced here. And then the important point is actually mentioned like as a summary in the very beginning of the sutta. That is how to practice, no? So what are the mental qualities that are necessary for the contemplation? So let's remember this a little bit because this is really important, and this is something that I would like for everyone to take away and to keep it in mind while we are practicing this four foundation of mindfulness in our daily life. So in the very beginning, when we introduced the Caraṇapālī in that part, in the sutta, the Buddha mentioned here, atapi sampajano satima, ardent, clearly comprehending, and mindful. So these three, they are very important because they are actually part of the Noble Eightfold Path. So if you still remember, atapi, ardent, in ultimate reality, it actually refers to effort. So in the Noble Eightfold Path, it is the right effort, refers to the right effort. Then atapi sampajano. Sampajano is clear comprehending, right? So clear comprehending in terms of the Noble Eightfold Path, it is the right view, this right view. To see things clearly, no? To see things as they are, as it is, no? So that is called sampajano, clear comprehending, which is right view. Then we have satima. Satima is a very obvious. Sati is mindfulness. So according to the Noble Eightfold Path, it refers to the right mindfulness here. So now with these three words, atapi sampajano satima, then we have right effort, right view, right mindfulness. And then we also mentioned that with effort and with mindfulness, concentration can be attained. So atapi together with satima, we get concentration, and that is the right concentration, sama samadhi, in the Noble Eightfold Path. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And then how about right thought then? Now, right thought, last week we saw it is the thought of renunciation, of non-cruelty, and of non-harming, as well as directing the mind to the right object of meditation, of vipassana. No? So directing the mind to kusala, to wholesomeness. So when we are meditating, when we are paying attention to the four foundations of mindfulness, we are applying right thought. So here with the anupassana, whether it is Caraṇapālī or Vedananupassana, Cittanupassana, or Dhammanupassana, that is actually the right thought here according to the Noble Eightfold Path. So we already have the five very important, the former path here, no? The factors that are to be developed. And then we also have the three viratis here, the right speech, right action, and right livelihood, which in ultimate reality, they are the virati cetasikas, the abstinences. So that is fulfilled when we take precepts and abstain from those kinds of unwholesome actions, right? So in this practice, the Buddha explained with these few words, actually the whole Noble Eightfold Path, right? So let's go back here to the very beginning. So we see atapi sampajano satima. Ardent, clearly comprehending, and mindful. So with these few words, we have to remember it refers to the five Pubbabhaga Magga, the former path. So those are the qualities that we need to practice while we are practicing the four foundations of mindfulness. Right effort, right view, right mindfulness, right concentration, and right thought, right? So five former paths. And then here it also says, Vinaya loke abhija domanasam. So removing attachment and grief. So here, this attachment and grief, the two main ones are mentioned, but of course we have to understand that it means all kinds of defilements. And here, because we are in the Caraṇapālī here, this paragraph, so it says in regard to the physical body, but actually it is in regard to the four foundations of mindfulness, no, whatever we are practicing at that moment. So with this very short sentence in the beginning of the sutta, the Buddha briefly taught how to meditate. So in the vipassana practice, these three factors, atapi sampajano, are to be developed, and these two factors, avijja and domanassa, are to be removed, representing all kinds of defilements, right? Okay, so whichever object of contemplation we start with, for vipassana practice, we always have to come back to the contemplation of mind and matter, nama and rupa, right? We are taking the 5 aggregates of clinging as the object of meditation. So when we get to see their individual characteristics with understanding, then wisdom will arise. Then we'll come to distinguish the difference between mind and between matter. We will understand that they are not the same. What knows is nama, is the mind, and rupa, it can be known, but it cannot know. So we will know this difference, and then when we contemplate on the different characteristic of each of them, then this become very clear, and this will help to develop the nama rupa paricheda jnana, in English translated as the analytical knowledge of mind and matter. And then we will understand that there is only mind and matter and nothing else. There is no I, no me, no individual there. Then we will get rid of the wrong view of a self. That is called the stage of purification of view. And after that, then we will need to proceed to contemplate the causes of this mind and matter. And eventually, that will lead to the understanding of the dependent origination. Which is cause and effect. Now we're learning about the origination factor and the dissolution factor here. And then understanding this is called paccaya parigaha jnana, knowledge of discerning conditionality. And these two wisdom served as the foundation for further vipassana wisdom to arise. Then one continue to contemplate the anicca, dukkha, and anatta characteristic of all the conditioned things, of all the nama rupa that we take as object, right? Now at that time, the wisdom will continue to grow, and with continuous practice, we will be able to attain wisdom sufficient for eradicating the wrong view and doubt totally, uproot them. By that time, we will have attained the first stage of enlightenment, which is really very, very important, because one who has arrived to the first stage will never be reborn again in the woeful state, and in maximum 7 lifetimes, the person will surely become an arahant. So it would be very wonderful if we could at least arrive to this level, right? So to arrive there, practicing the Mahasatipatthana, practicing the 4 foundations of mindfulness is the only way, is mentioned by the Buddha. Okay, so after introducing or describing these 21 ways of meditation on the 4 foundations of mindfulness and the way how to practice, what qualities are necessary, then the Buddha gave the following assurance. So let's read together. It says, "Verily, bhikkhus, whoever is practicing these 4 foundations of mindfulness for 7 years can expect one of 2 results. Highest knowledge here and now, or when there be yet some remainder of clinging, the state of non-returner." So when meditators practice this 4 foundation of mindfulness for 7 years, they can expect one of these following 2 results. That is arahantship or the 3rd stage of enlightenment. Here, highest knowledge, that means the magga jnana, the knowledge or wisdom of the path consciousness of the arahat. That is the highest knowledge here and now. No? So it's to be experienced by the person at that moment. And then meditators who are successful to eradicate all kind of defilements will attain that wisdom, that arahantship. No, but if they cannot eradicate all defilements and some little defilements still remain, some craving or clinging still, if there is still a little bit, then they may become an anagami or a non-returner. So here the Buddha mentioned that if we practiced correctly in this way, then in 7 years' time, then one will attain these 2 stages. Have you heard about the non-returner? I think so, right? Anagami. Jia, we just briefly introduced. An anagami, a non-returner, is a person who has reached the 3rd stage of enlightenment. They are called non-returner because they are those who will not return by rebirth to the sense sphere, or the world of the human beings or celestial beings, and also sense realm. Although only the two highest stages of enlightenment are mentioned here, we must not take it to mean that meditators can only reach this third stage and fourth stage, and they cannot reach the first or second, because without attaining the first two, the third and fourth is not possible. No, so if third and fourth is mentioned, so that means first and second must be possible also. Then we must go through first and second before going to third and fourth. And so that means that meditators who practice this meditation correctly for 7 years can reach all the 4 stages of enlightenment and become a noble person who have realized Nibbana and who have gained enlightenment. Then the sutta actually continues, the next paragraph, it says, the Buddha continued, he said, let alone 7 years, bhikkhus, should any person practice this 4 foundation of mindfulness in this manner for 6 years, 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, for 1 year, then he may expect one of the 2 results, highest knowledge here and now, or when there be yet a remainder of clinging, the state of non-returner. Let alone 1 year, bhikkhus, should any person practice these 4 foundations of mindfulness in this manner for 7 months, 6 months, 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, or half month, then he might expect one of the 2 results, highest knowledge here and now, or when there be yet a remainder of clinging, the state of non-returner. Let alone half a month, because should any person practice these 4 foundations of mindfulness for 7 days, he may expect one of 2 results, highest knowledge here and now, or when there be yet a remainder of clinging, the state of non-returner. So for people whose paramis, their perfections are very mature, and when their intelligence are very keen and very sharp, then they may attain in a very, very short time if they practice correctly these 4 foundations of mindfulness. Then for those that are not so sharp or not so mature in their paramis, then it might take a little bit longer time. So in the number 85 of the Majjhima Nikaya, Prince Bodhi asked the Buddha some questions, and in response to him, the Buddha actually mentioned that there are 5 qualities of striving: faith, sada, or confidence; health; honesty; energy; and wisdom. So the Buddha said, whoever possesses these 5 qualities of striving and who has the Buddha as the teacher will attain arahathood in any length of time, beginning with 7 years down to less than a day. So sada here means confidence in the practice, in oneself, in the teaching. And health here means someone who is free from illness and affliction, that is able to bear the strain of striving. That's so, because when we practice, when we exert effort, it requires energy. So we must be healthy enough in order to be able to practice. Then honesty here means sincerity or honesty, one who will show himself as he actually is to the teacher and to his companions in the holy life. So one is sincere and one is not pretending and honest. And then the energy here, it means one is energetic in what way? Energetic in doing what, right? So energetic in abandoning the unwholesome states and in undertaking wholesome states. Steadfast, launching his effort with firmness and persevering in cultivating wholesome states. Is what it is meant by energy here. And then wisdom means a person that possesses wisdom regarding the arising and passing away of phenomena, which is noble and penetrative, and that which leads to the complete destruction of suffering. So these are the 5 factors mentioned here. So that those who have this quality and practice the Mahasatipatthana, the 4 foundations of mindfulness in the correct way, having the Buddha as a guide, then this person might be able to attain arahantship from 7 years to 1 day time, or any amount of this time. The Buddha said in the end of this sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya that a bhikkhu can attain arahathood even in the morning after having been instructed in the evening, or he can attain arahathood in the evening after being instructed in the morning, as quick as that. So depending on the maturity of the spiritual faculties of the individual, if they have practiced in the past life already and have accumulated experience, then they can attain in a very short time. But for those people who don't have such experience in a previous life, might take a little bit longer in order to reach enlightenment. But the Buddha mentioned that it is possible. Then the sutta continues here. It says, because of this, it has been said, this is the only way, bhikkhus, for the purification of beings, for the overcoming of sorrow and lamentation, for the disappearance of pain and grief, for reaching the noble path, for the realization of nibbana, namely the four foundations of mindfulness. This the Blessed One said. Glad in their hearts, the bhikkhus welcomed the words of the Blessed One. So this is the closing of the sutta, and then the benefits of practicing these four foundations are mentioned again. So we have already seen this in the very beginning. So what are the benefits of this practice? That is to attain the purification of the mind, then overcome sorrow and lamentation, no more pain and grief, reaching the noble path, and realization of nibbana. So those are the benefits that are being mentioned. So until here, the whole sutta has been completed. And in the very beginning of the sutta, it was said that it has been delivered in the land of the Kurus to the Kuru people. Do you remember? So it is said that the Kuru country was blessed with a perfect climate. The Kuru people, they enjoyed comfortable conditions and were always happy in body and mind. Helped by this healthy body and minds, their power of wisdom matured and they were capable of receiving profound teachings such as the Satipatthana. So that is why the Buddha preached this sutta to them, to the Kuru people in the Kuru country. Now, Sayadaw Silananda asked, how about us? Most of us usually enjoy quite good climate, at least indoor if we have air conditioner. We have access to good food. Most of us are healthy in comparison to many that are sick that cannot practice. So it is possible that we have even better conditions than the Kuru people. So it will be good that we take this opportunity, having learned this sutta, having heard it, the Buddha's teaching, then we should try to practice continuously, practice mindfulness continuously as much as possible, and to grow in wisdom in all the activities that we do. In this way, if we practice correctly, then as the Buddha assured, then it is possible for us to attain any stage of enlightenment in a short time or in a longer time. But it is possible, and this is the only way that is mentioned in this sutta. So up till here, we have completed the whole sutta. So may we all practice and attain Nibbana as soon as possible. So before we go to question and answer, I would first like to thank everyone for joining this sutta sharing. It has been wonderful, a wonderful journey to explore the details of this sutta together with you. So let's recite 3 times together. Buddham sasanam jiram tittatu, meaning may the Buddha's teaching last long to close our study, and then we will go to question and answer. Okay, so let's recite 3 times together. Buddham sasanam jiram tittatu, Buddham sasanam jiram tittatu, Buddham sasanam jiram tittatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, Thank you, everyone. So let's see if you have any questions.
Yes, it made me think about the paramis. What are the signs if someone has developed paramis from past lives,
Mm,
and what are the signs that they do not have developed paramis?
in the past. Now, very obvious, the first one would be if you are interested or not. So if a person is interested in the Buddha's teaching, if they are interested in meditation, that would be because they might have cultivated something in the past. Because when we studied how the mind works in the Abhidhamma, it's actually a very natural process and very logical, no? So we accumulate habit, right? So what we practice in the past will support our practice in the present. So just like riding a bicycle, if we have practiced a lot, then very easily when we get on the bicycle, then we can ride easily. Or if we have never ride a bicycle before, then we'll struggle a little bit in the beginning to get the balance and try, and we have to learn, right? So in the same way, if we are interested in the Dhamma, it might be because we already have some kind of contact previously in our previous life. So that can be a panya parami, that is the perfection of wisdom, and then we have been accumulated a little bit of those. And say some people, it's very easy for them to do dana, to give away or to be generous. Is very easy for some people, but for some people it's very hard. So maybe that is also because they have done it in the past or they have not done it in the past. So whatever, well, we're now talking about good things, but bad things also also have habit. Yeah. So remember, if we have practiced a lot of dosa in our previous life, some people may very easily get angry in this lifetime, or get attached to something in this lifetime in the same way. So what will be obvious is whether it's something that feels natural for us, that we have interest to it. That can be a sign.
Okay, so but could it also be visible as a child, like like children in children?
Yes, some children, they are very naturally very very calm, and they like to stay quiet, or maybe they even like to close their eyes and breathe. Or we cannot tell, no. But some children, maybe they are not interested. Even if parents bring them to the meditation center, then they don't want to go there, or they don't like to go there, or so we can see, yes, there are traces.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome. Anything else? Anyone? Yes, Judy. Oh, can't hear.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, can you because I just now you did a brief, right? And you mentioned about this five Puba Baga
Agama.
Maga.
Mm.
Seemingly, because I Google a bit
Mhm.
just to get more information, it seems
Mhm.
to be like a prelim path factors
Mhm.
or something like essential preparatory practices. Can
Mhm.
you well, from my English language reading, right? It seems to be a stepping stone, a progressions into a more, how should I say, a more serious. For
No,
us who are so
no.
conditioned, so habitual into this conceptual world, right?
Mm.
We
Yeah.
jump into full
No, we should
foundation of
not
mindfulness.
we should
Yeah.
not
So
understand this preliminary in that way. This forma, it means the whole practice of vipassana. Why is it called forma? Because the Noble Eightfold Path, these eight path factors, they arise all together at the same time when they are completed during the Magga Chitta, no, during enlightenment moment. Yes, so that is called the moment of where the Noble Eightfold Path is completed. So the former path means while we are practicing. So that's the vipassana, right? So not before, it's just before enlightenment. Yeah. So while we're practicing vipassana. Now the 8 path factors, well, 8, why are there 5 Puba Vaga? No? Because 3 of them are sila, remember? Yeah. So therefore the ones that are to be developed actively during meditation are these 5. The other 3, the right speech, right thought, and right livelihood, those are sila, those are morality that we are keeping day to day, no?
So that's that 3, the sila. Because you say the other 5 is to be actively developed
While meditating.
Okay, so the sila should be there already. Or they are there already.
It's a support when before you practice, sometimes you take precepts, or in your daily life you take precepts, right? So this let's say right livelihood, meaning not killing any beings or not stealing anything, right? So in the moment of meditation, we are not actually doing anything that about killing or about stealing. So that's why it is not actively being there. That is the meaning.
I see. Is there any suta or any reading that I can read further on these 5 of what you just explained to get a bit more imprint into this mind?
It's actually just the Noble Eightfold Path. Whatever you read about the Noble Eightfold Path, it will say the same.
Okay.
Yeah, the other 3 are sila, and the other part, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration belong to samadhi. So the whole practice of the Buddha is sila, samadhi, panya. No, so morality, stability of mind or concentration, and wisdom. Yeah. So right thought, right view. That 2 factor is wisdom. So sila, samadhi, panya, the whole Noble Eightfold Path.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, welcome. Anyone else? Anything else?
Sorry, one more thing, right?
Yes, Judy.
Why is it 7 years? You know the finishing part, right? Buddha mentioned if you practice like this for 7 years and then it scaled down to 7 months, 7 days. Why the number 7?
This is an interesting question. I am actually not sure, but I think sometimes this number, I have to confirm it with my teacher whether it really means 7 or it means like a certain period of time, no? Because sometimes in the suttas, sometimes when they say 300 monks became arahant or something, so not exactly 500, sorry, 500, not exactly 500 actually, meaning when they use 500, meaning many, no? Like a lot, like that. So about this 7, I cannot answer now. I will ask and come back. Okay, I see something in the chat box. Let's say, are the 5 striving factors, health, faith, health, honesty, energy, wisdom, are also in the 37 factors of enlightenment? The 37 Bodhipakkhiya, I don't remember health and honesty being there. I think they might be different. This one that I just mentioned, these 5 striving factors or 5 striving qualities, is mentioned in the Majjhima Nikaya number 85. You can take a look at that sutta, Majjhima Nikaya number 85. Okay, I'll put it here. And the 37 Bodhipakkhiya, you can also find it in the Abhidhamma Tasangaha, comprehensive manual of Abhidhamma. There is also a list there. I don't remember. I don't think health and honesty is there. Yeah, probably something different.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, thank you, everyone. So, anyone else? Yeah. Okay. Yes, I really appreciate those that are getting up very early to attend this course because of the time difference. I know some of you wake up really early in the United States or in Canada, especially. So I really appreciate your effort. May all your effort be supportive conditions for your attainment of your highest aspiration. So thank you everyone again, and we will close the class here, and let's dedicate our effort for the attainment of Nibbana and also share merits with all beings. Okay, so let's recite together. Itam no punyam nibbanassa pachayo hotu. Itam no punyam nibbanassa pachayo hotu. Itam no punyam nibbanassa pachayo hotu. Itam no punyam sabhasatanam pajima. Itam no punyam sabhasatanam pajima. Itam no punyam sabhasatanam pajima. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Yeah, thank you everyone for sharing and for joining. And I hope to see you again sometime. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wish everyone, I don't know, a good practice maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see each other again, perhaps in the next session. It was a great,
Hopefully.
what a great session.
Thank you to you
Thank
too,
you so
Edith,
much,
for start this ball rolling. Thank you.
Thank
Sadhu,
you.
sadhu.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Heidi.
Everyone.
Thank
keep
you.
going
Thank you,
with Dhamma.
everyone.
Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu.